Could you recall a situation in your life when you expected one thing and got something completely different? What was it? Careless online shopping, and as a result, lots of things that don't fit. Or maybe ordering food in a restaurant when the picture on the menu looked way more delicious than the real dish. Or maybe it was a blind date. What did you feel? And most importantly, how did you cope with your feelings? We face situations like this almost every single day, but in many cases, we don't even pay attention to what we feel or what we do, we just move on. But sometimes we get a new job, the job that we've been dreaming of, and realize that this new job has nothing in common with the picture that we had about it. Or we move to a different city, and reality doesn't meet our expectations. It's like those expectation versus reality memes, but in the picture is not an ugly dress, but your ruined life. At least that's what it feels like. Sounds familiar, right? So, what do we feel? What do we feel in this case? Disappointment, regret, frustration, misery, depression, the feeling that the greatest chance of life has been wasted and there is no way you can turn back time. So what do we do when reality doesn't meet our expectations? Do we put up with it, or we pull ourselves together and take it under control? I had to make this choice some 8 years ago, and this is what my story is about. It all started in 2014 when I was lucky enough to get a prestigious grant, which allowed me to spend a year in the United States of America teaching Russian language and culture to American college students. I was a young English teacher, and I was flying across the ocean for the first time in my life, dreaming of all those wonderful experiences I was going to have. Living in a small, cozy town, getting coffee in a coffee shop every morning, meeting new people, practicing this beautiful American English, and on top of that, teaching my native language and culture to American students, being a kind of a cultural ambassador of Russia in the United States. I was hoping to live the lives of the characters from my favorite American movies. Those were my expectations. Imagine how puzzled I was when I met the reality, which was the following. My university was located literally in the middle of nowhere, in the very heart of the state of Mississippi, along the highway surrounded by vast cotton fields, with a closer supermarket being 10 miles away. And to get there, I needed a car, which I didn't have, and I couldn't borrow one as I didn't have driving license. So if I needed to go shopping, I had to find a person and ask them to drive me there and to wait for me while I was doing the shopping and to drive me back home. And I only had this opportunity once a week. So if I forgot to buy something, I had to bear with it till next time. Do you remember how excited I was about this opportunity of teaching Russian language to Americans? Guess how many students shared my excitement? That's right, none. None of them signed in for my class. I was devastated. I felt useless. I came to the United States to teach, and now there are no students interested in my teaching. But that's the key point of the program I was so lucky to be chosen for. What's the point of staying in a country if you have nothing to do there and no opportunity to travel anywhere? What can be worse than that? And worse than that was the fact that I didn't understand a single word local people were saying to me. I'm an English teacher, remember? And I'm in love with American English. But for some mysterious reason, people in Mississippi like swallowing half of the sounds, which makes it absolutely impossible to decipher what they are saying, even for other Americans. It's like you're listening to a mumble rap song without even understanding what the song is about. I'm smiling now, but back then I was devastated, frustrated, miserable. I was thousands of miles away from home, and I had no one to share my feelings with. I felt isolated, all alone among complete strangers. So I stayed at home most of the time, with a deep feeling that something had gone completely wrong in my life, and there was nothing I could do about it. That was my reality, that had nothing in common with my expectations. But one day it changed. I realized that there will be no tomorrow with better circumstances or chances. There will be no other people who come and change my life for the better. It's just me. I am the only person responsible for my happiness. So I started taking action. Started slow. The first step was to take a close look at my new reality and to identify things that I was not able to change. My location, my university, my surrounding. Out of all wonderful places in the United States, out of all prestigious universities, I was lucky to get this. I felt so sorry for myself for being such a loser, so I gave myself a moment to cry the feeling out and to accept that there were some things that I was not able to change. Next, I gave myself a word never to treat myself as a loser again. It's very deep feeling when you take your challenge and turn it into an exciting journey worth keeping in memory for the many years after. They say when life gives you lemons, make lemonade. But gosh, that was hard. To wake up every morning and to bring myself back to the idea of positive thinking and never giving up. And here, daily routines came quite handy. Doing sports, reading, cooking, writing a blog for my Russian friends. I did all those things every single day, and they helped me keep going without a sheer feeling that I was wasting my precious time. And then they came focus. Focus on the bright sides, which I found quite a few. As I was not loaded with teaching, as you remember, I could concentrate on studying. Raise your hand if you have ever dreamed of going to an American university. How about doing that for free? No, I was not a loser any longer. I was an international student at an American university. I could choose any department, any teacher, any subject, and the only thing I needed to do was to come 5 minutes before the class and to say, "Hi, my name is Anastasia. I'm a Fulbright scholar from Russia. Do you mind if I join your class?" No one did. So I used this opportunity to the fullest. Some of the teachers became my good friends, whom I could spend hours talking to, sharing my feelings, finding emotional support and real help. They opened up the whole new Mississippi for me, taking me to different places around. They gave me that feeling of community I'd been longing for. They also unraveled my talents in creative writing and public speaking, so I even ended up publishing a couple of articles in a local journal and presenting my research at a big conference in front of 100 of people. Thank you. The more I practiced my listening skills, the more I learned about that tricky Southern accent, so by the end of the year, I could speak with it myself. Needless to say, I had no problems with going to supermarkets any longer. And finally, as I didn't travel so much on my own and I didn't spend much money on shopping, I managed to save up quite a big sum of money to arrange the most unforgettable 30 days journey along the East Coast on winter break. That was and still is the best travel ever in my entire life. So I took my miseries and misfortunes and turned them into benefits with the help of very easy steps. Accepting what is impossible to change, changing the attitude, and switching the focus. And magically, one positive change started attracting another. I not only accepted my reality, I changed it to a certain extent by taking the best I could from it. So I ended up spending the best year of my life in the best possible middle of nowhere with the warmest community I could ever imagine. My new reality surpassed my wildest expectations. Accept, change attitude, focus. So maybe next time, when you find your reality very far from your expectations, you turn this painful experience into an exciting journey worth writing a book about. Or maybe it'll be a TED Talk. Who knows? Thank you.